This is Webinar 4 in the Minnesota Drug Diversion Prevention Pathway webinar series. In this webinar, we look at nuances that help to ensure accurate controlled substance counts. Controlled substance counts are a part of basic nursing care in long-term care. The concept is simple. Prior to taking responsibility for residents, the oncoming nurse needs to ensure that the controlled substance logs match the amount of controlled substance medication stored for those residents. Controlled substance counts are one of the most important parts of the controlled substance chain of custody. The chain of custody ensures that we know who has access to and responsibility for controlled substances at all times in a facility. An intact chain of custody ensures that from the time a medication enters the building, it is checked in, securely stored, and someone is responsible to make sure access is appropriate. Accurate counts ensure that every dose is accounted for when access or responsibility changes. Accurate counts ensure medication or documentation errors are corrected in a timely manner. And while stakeholders and potential witnesses are present, they protect the license of the oncoming nurse. And they serve as a drug diversion deterrent to nurses who may be looking for opportunities to divert. There are some challenges to building a culture where controlled substance counts are completed reliably.
Hi, you're back. Did you get any rest?
Yes, I did. Thank you for asking. Let me just put my things down and then I'll be able to get a report from you.
That sounds great. We had a pretty good day.
Awesome.
In the video, there is a lot going on in the background. Long-term care shift changes rarely occur in a secluded, calm, quiet environment. Distractions can cause problems with the controlled substance count. Accurate counts require uninterrupted time for 2 nurses, and resident needs for care continue during shift change. It is often difficult to find time to do a careful count. If someone is seeking to divert, they may try to take advantage of the chaos. Each facility will have different distractions that interrupt the controlled substance count. Solutions may require proactive rounding or checking in with specific residents ahead of the change in shift. Staggering shift times to ensure CNAs or other interdisciplinary employees are available to help, or other resident-centered, area-specific interventions. Inattentiveness is also a challenge. Controlled substance medication counts are almost always correct, and human brains are selectively lazy. They create neural pathways to make repetitive tasks easier, and after a while, they only see what they expect to see. This is called confirmation bias. Our job is to build systems to make sure that we aren't relying on our brain's shortcuts.
Mr. Thomas's perks, there should be 4.
That looks right. Yeah.
Kagan, the liquid morphine is in the refrigerator. I haven't touched it.
Okay, I trust you.
To avoid this during controlled substance counts, the oncoming nurse should blind count, not knowing the number of pills that there should be, and should report what they find. Instead of someone saying, "You should have 9 Ativan tabs for Mrs. Peterson," the counting nurse should be the one to confirm the dosage and amount. The oncoming nurse should then watch as the second nurse documents the count. This protects the oncoming nurse. Offgoing nurses who are attempting to divert can count and document incorrectly, potentially moving the discrepancy to the following shift. Interpersonal dynamics may play a role in the way nurses approach the controlled substance count. Nurses who are eager to be off shift or who have challenging personalities can impose social pressures on other nurses. Alternately, often nurses have established good, trusting relationships with their colleagues, making the count feel unnecessary. In both cases, nurses may be tempted to circumvent established processes for counting.
Glad you're here. Yeah. So as we do the count, I'm going to count the drawer because I'm a lot faster at it, and
Okay.
I want to get out of here. So O'Connor's lorazepam, we've got 18.
Okay.
For Gorsuch, there's 3 left. I gave 3 oxys left. I gave 2 today. There's a full card in the med room. I'll have to count that in a minute.
Okay.
While nurses are generally aware of the risk to their licenses from controlled substance medication errors, time pressure and peer pressure can press them to take shortcuts. Building a culture where nurses feel empowered and supported when they stand up for themselves and their residents is an important part of a culture of safety. At the same time, leaders need to be aware and address if one of their employees is creating a culture of incivility or intimidation. Tampering is particularly challenging in the prevention of drug diversion. It is often found after the count and later in the shift. PRN medications that are not given often are at higher risk for tampering. Unless people are checking, it is difficult to identify when tampering happened. Tampering checks include turning medication cards over to ensure that they are intact, checking for pill or tablet substitution, checking to make sure that seals on medications are intact, looking for holes in liquid medication containers. Tampering checks should be a routine part of every controlled substance count. Ongoing inaccurate counts create a system that is easily breached by a nurse who is seeking to divert controlled substances. If counts are being missed, or discrepancies or errors ignored, the chain of custody is broken, and the count loses its integrity. Someone who is looking to divert medications can take advantage of poorly executed systems. They can also frame innocent nurses as a part of this process. In order to help mitigate this risk, leadership can facilitate discussion and set expectations for the elements of an accurate count. They should help ensure nurses are able to follow the system. As an example, counting sheets should be designed to have room for the signatures that are required for every type of medication. If you are a nurse whose systems don't allow you to follow the designated policy or process, check with your leader to help come up with a practical solution. Leaders should also help you decrease the barriers when possible. As an example, often facilities will stagger their shift times between roles, so CNAs and nurses are not passing off report at the same time, and someone is available to care for residents. This increases the likelihood of an uninterrupted count. Leaders may monitor how counts are occurring and address issues that jeopardize count integrity.
See 7 tabs and the card is intact.
7 tabs.
Mr. Roberts alprazolam, 0.25 milligrams, 7 tabs and the card is intact.
7 tabs. Okay.
Ms. Ginsburg's hydrocodone, I see 12 tabs and the card is intact.
12 tabs.
Ms. Ginsburg's fentanyl, removed all from the package, all intact, and there are 5 remaining.
5 fentanyl patches. The drug diversion prevention pathway includes a nursing competency on controlled substance counting. It includes education content and a competency checkoff for nurses to complete. These materials are available at www.apiaryconsulting.com in the Toolkit under the Project Links tab.